This story begins deep in the wild. A lion cub's desperate cry cuts through the savanna air, echoing like a call for help no one can ignore. The sound rises and falls across the golden plains, tangled in the wind, until it reaches you, a human heartbeat against 1,000 miles of wilderness. In this unforgiving land, survival is never guaranteed. Life here balances on the edge of drought and hunger, where every dawn writes new stories in dust and blood. So before we dive in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy these emotional stories. Comment below your favorite animal. And now, let's follow that sound. You move cautiously through the tall grass, the blades whispering against your legs. Each step draws you closer to the cry, faint, weak, yet filled with something raw, fear, pain, maybe both. The scent of scorched earth mixes with the musk of the savanna. Above, vultures circle, their shadows sweeping over the sun-bleached soil. The cry stops, silence, then another noise, the sharp snap of metal. You freeze, your pulse quickens. Somewhere ahead, hidden beneath thorns, danger waits. The air feels charged, heavy with something unseen. You push aside the brush, and the world narrows to one image, a tiny lion cub caught in a poacher's snare. Its paw twists painfully against the wire, fur matted with blood and dust. The cub lets out a trembling growl, not of anger but terror, a voice calling for a mother who may never return. Instinct takes over. You drop to your knees, speaking softly, the way rangers do when calming an injured creature. Easy, I've got you. Your hands hover inches away, careful not to startle it. You remember the training. Keep low, stay quiet, never meet its eyes too long. A whisper of wind rustles the acacia branches, carrying the distant echo of thunder. Storm season is close. You feel time pressing down, every second weighted with consequence. Somewhere behind you a twig snaps, not by your foot, not by the wind. Could it be another animal? Or something worse? You glance over your shoulder, scanning the tree line. The grass shifts again, but nothing emerges. The cub's breathing quickens, mirroring your own. Your fingers tighten around the wire. One wrong move could make the trap clamp harder. But you have no choice. You press the release lever, the metal screeches, and the wire loosens. The cub jerks free with a cry that echoes far too loud across the open land. And that's when you hear it, a low, rolling growl from beyond the hill, deep and unmistakable. The pride has heard the cub's call, and they are coming. But not everyone who roams this savanna means to protect. Somewhere in that same direction, a human voice shouts, rough, angry, armed. The cub whimpers. The wind shifts. You realize you've just stepped into a battlefield between love and greed. But in the tall grass, something stirred. You crouch low, scanning the earth for answers. The savanna floor tells its own story, if you know how to read it. Fresh bootprints stamp the dust in chaotic circles, pressed deep into the red soil. The heel marks are heavy, purposeful. These weren't the tracks of lost travelers. They were hunters, poachers, the kind who move with silence and greed in equal measure. A broken branch leans against the trail. You trace the splintered wood with your fingers, the bark still wet, freshly cracked. The snare wasn't old. It had been set only hours ago. The cub must have wandered away from its mother in the night, chasing a sound or a scent, and stepped right into the trap meant for something larger. The cub limps beside you now, weak but alive, its tiny paw trembling with every movement. Each time it stumbles, it looks back toward the horizon, where the roars once came from. You can almost feel its instinct calling home, to the pride that raised it, to the safety of the herd's breath and warmth. The grass whispers again. You kneel, eyes narrowing toward the distance. Something glints, a dropped cartridge, brass half buried in dust. It's still warm to the touch. That means the poachers can't be far. You whisper into your radio, barely above a breath. Base, this is Unit 12. Found signs of activity near the southern ridge. One cub injured and possible lion pride nearby. Static crackles. A calm voice answers. Copy that, 12. Be advised, movement detected on drone feed. 2 hostiles heading your way. Get clear. Your eyes lift toward the setting sun. The light bleeds orange and red, washing the horizon in fire. It will be dark soon. You have minutes, maybe less, before the poachers return to check their traps. You can't carry the cub fast enough to outrun them, and leaving it behind isn't an option. You think fast. There's an old ranger outpost half a kilometer north, abandoned since last season's floods. If you can make it there, you'll have cover, and maybe a chance to call for backup. The cub shivers as you lift it gently into your arms. Its heartbeat thumps against your chest, fast, frightened, alive. You whisper softly, "You're safe now." "I promise." As you move through the undergrowth, the terrain shifts from grass to dust to hard stone. The prints fade, but another set appears. Paws, big ones, fresh. They follow the same route you're taking, parallel to your path, moving in silence through the shadows. Your chest tightens. The pride. Every instinct tells you they're near. You can almost feel the weight of their gaze between the trees. The cub stirs in your arms, sensing something familiar. It lets out a weak cry, a call of recognition or maybe warning. From the east, a faint echo answers, a low rumble deep and resonant. You freeze mid-step. That wasn't human. The pride has found your scent, and somewhere behind them, the poachers have found your trail. The sun dips below the ridge, swallowing the world in gold and shadow. The savannah holds its breath, two forces closing in from opposite sides. The next move could mean life or death. But from the far side of the plain, a single gunshot cracked the silence. Grrr! The sound of the gunshot tears through the air like lightning. Birds explode from the trees in a cloud of panic. You drop low, pressing your body against the dry earth, clutching the cub to your chest. Its small frame trembles, and you can feel its heartbeat racing as fast as your own. You scan the horizon. Smoke curls upward from the ridge, the fading echo of voices chasing the wind. The poachers are closer than you feared. The sun hangs low now, bleeding across the savannah in streaks of crimson and amber. It paints everything in the colors of warning. Light that hides nothing, shadows that reveal everything. You know this kind of light. It's the hour when predators hunt, and when humans make desperate choices. You whisper to yourself, "I have to move." The cub gives a faint cry, tired, scared, yet trusting. You adjust your grip, holding it close, careful not to jostle its injured paw. Every step is a calculation. Move too slow and you'll be caught. Move too fast, and the noise will give you away. The scent of gunpowder drifts on the breeze. Your eyes dart to the horizon. Two silhouettes are cutting across the tall grass, rifles slung low, scanning the ground. Their voices carry faintly, harsh and impatient. They're tracking you. You veer off the trail, ducking into a dry riverbed, using the cracked walls as cover. The earth here smells of clay and rain long gone. You can almost hear your pulse thudding in your ears, louder than the cicadas around you. Ahead, a twisted tree rises, the old acacia that marks the border of the abandoned ranger outpost. It's still half a kilometer away. Between you and safety lies open ground. No cover, no time. You glance back. The poachers have split up, one sweeping left, the other cutting right. Their dogs are restless, barking in short bursts. The sound makes the cub cry out again. You press its tiny body against your chest, whispering, "Shh." Almost there. A sudden gust of wind kicks up the dust. You take the chance and run. Your boots pound the cracked ground, the cub held tight, the world narrowing to one desperate sprint. Bullets won't be far behind if they spot you. You can almost feel their crosshairs tracing the path of your breath. The outpost fence appears ahead, sagging and rusted. You dive behind it, landing hard on your shoulder. Pain flares through your arm, but you can't stop. Inside the outpost, the air smells of age, dry canvas, metal, oil. You find the old radio, flick it on, static, then a faint voice. "Unit 12, come in." "This is 12. You whisper harshly. "I've got a cub, injured, lion pride nearby, poachers in pursuit." The reply cuts through the static. "Hold position." "We're 10 minutes out." 10 minutes. That's an eternity in this place. You slide down against the wall, the cub nestled beside you. Its breathing steadies, tiny eyes blinking with exhaustion. You catch a glimpse of the wound, raw but not deep. It can survive if you make it through the night. You glance out through the window slats. The light is fading fast. The savannah turns to fire, then to shadow. Somewhere in that twilight, the roars begin again. distant, but closer than before. You realize the pride is coming for the cub, and so are the poachers. Two paths converging on your hiding place, drawn by the same cry. You tighten your grip on your knife, breathing slow, heartbeat steady. Because when the sun finally falls, there will be no more running. But in the dying light, a pair of golden eyes appeared beyond the fence, watching. The night doesn't fall gently. It drops like a curtain. The last line of sunlight bleeds away, swallowed by the horizon, leaving you wrapped in shadow and the slow hum of the savannah coming alive after dark. The air is cooler now, but thick with the scent of dust and something deeper, musk, fur, and wildness. You edge closer to the broken window frame of the outpost, peering into the blackness beyond the fence. At first there's only stillness. Then you see them. Two amber reflections low to the ground, then another pair, then two more. Golden eyes shimmer in the moonlight, scattered like stars in motion. The pride is here. The cub lifts its head, ears twitching. A weak sound escapes its throat, part whimper, part recognition. The eyes shift, and one shape steps forward. A lioness. Her muscles ripple under the pale glow, her breath visible in the cool air. She stops just beyond the fence line, head tilted, nostrils flaring. She smells her cub. Your heart pounds. Every instinct screams at you to stay still. To the pride, you're not a savior, just another intruder. You remember what the ranger manual said. Lions can charge at over 50 kilometers an hour. No hesitation, no warning. One wrong movement, and she'll be through that rusted gate before you can even stand. You whisper softly to the cub, trying to keep it calm. It shifts closer to you, seeking warmth. The lioness lets out a low rumble. Not quite a growl, not quite a call. A sound that vibrates through the air, like a promise. You exhale slowly. She's talking to you, you murmur to the cub. She knows you're alive, but behind the lioness, more shapes emerge. 5, 6, maybe more. The pride moves as one, silent and deliberate. You can see the males now, larger, darker manes, framing faces carved in gold and shadow. Their tails twitch like pendulums, their attention fixed entirely on the small creature in your arms. The cub whimpers again, and the lioness steps closer. The fence groans. You instinctively reach for your flashlight, flicking it on. The sudden beam cuts across the darkness, catching their eyes in bright, burning halos. The pride freezes for half a second, and then, almost imperceptibly, they step back, melting into the tall grass again. Silence returns, but it's fragile. You can still sense them out there, circling, waiting. A whisper from the radio crackles through the stillness. Unit 12. Backup's been delayed. Storm cell moving in from the east. Repeat, hold position. You glance toward the sky. Clouds are rolling in fast, dark and heavy, swallowing the stars. The first drops of rain fall hard against the tin roof, each one echoing like a drumbeat. Lightning flickers on the horizon, and for a moment the entire plain flashes silver, revealing the pride, spread wide around the outpost like a living ring of shadows. You're surrounded. You grip the flashlight tighter, scanning left to right. The cub presses closer to your side, tiny body shaking. Its trust is total, unguarded, and terrifying. You whisper, more to yourself than anyone, "We just need to make it through the night." But deep in the tall grass, the lions aren't the only ones moving. Somewhere beyond the ring of glowing eyes, a sharper glint catches the next flash of lightning, cold, metallic, and deliberate. Rifles. The poachers have returned, and as thunder rolled across the plains, a lion's roar rose to meet it. The thunder cracks open the night like the sky itself is breaking. You can't tell which came first, the roar of the storm or the answering roar from the pride. They overlap, a collision of nature's fury and something primal that shivers down your spine. The cub jerks awake in your arms, trembling. You tighten your hold, eyes scanning the darkness beyond the outpost. The rain comes harder now, turning dust to mud, washing away tracks, and with them your advantage. Somewhere in the storm's rhythm, human voices cut through. Muffled, harsh, and close. The poachers. They're calling to each other, shouting against the rain. You can't see them yet, but their flashlights flicker like ghosts through the trees. Their boots splash against wet ground. One of them laughs, a low, cold sound that doesn't belong in this place. You duck low, pressing your back against the wall. The cub squirms softly, its paw still bleeding through the makeshift bandage. The scent of blood mixes with the rain, sharp and metallic. You freeze. That smell on the wind, it's a beacon. Out there, lions are built to smell blood from miles away. They can sense weakness, pain, the raw pulse of life itself. You glance out through a crack in the wood. Lightning flashes, and for an instant you see them again, eyes, dozens of them, watching, waiting, not attacking yet, but drawn closer with every drop of blood that hits the earth. You whisper, "Easy, little one." You tear a strip from your sleeve, wrapping the paw tighter. Each movement leaves your hands shaking. Somewhere deep inside, instinct is screaming. You're not just being hunted by men now. The rain drowns out everything except your heartbeat. Then footsteps, close, heavy. The sound of metal against metal, someone reloading. You peer through the window slit. A figure moves near the fence, flashlight sweeping. He's close enough that you can see his rain-soaked jacket, the rifle slung over his shoulder. You can't risk the radio, it's too loud. You can only wait. Lightning cracks again. For a heartbeat, the world turns white. And in that instant, the man at the fence freezes. His beam falls on something just beyond the gate. A shape, a sound, a low rolling growl. The lioness. She moves like smoke, silent and sudden, emerging from the grass. The poacher barely raises his weapon before she's on him. A flash of claws, a cry swallowed by thunder. Then silence again, except for the rain. You stare, unable to move. The rest of the pride steps forward now, cautious but coordinated. Their focus isn't on you, it's on the fallen man. The balance of power has shifted. You look down at the cub. It's watching too, ears perked. There's recognition in its eyes, connection. You whisper, "She's your mother, isn't she?" The storm intensifies, sheets of rain slamming the roof. You hear shouts farther off, the remaining poachers calling out for their missing partner. You can't stay here. The scent of blood, human and lion alike, is spreading fast. It'll pull every predator for miles. You sling your pack over your shoulder and cradle the cub close. The only chance now is to move west, toward the rocky escarpment where the rangers can land their chopper when the weather clears. But as you step outside, lightning lights the plain one more time, and you see the pride turn their heads toward you, not with hostility, not with fear, something else, as if they remember your scent, the one who freed their cub. You hold your breath. The lioness locks eyes with you. The storm howls around both of you, wild and alive. Then she steps aside, giving you a path through the grass. You whisper thank you, though your voice is lost to the wind. You start walking, the cub pressed against your chest. But even as you move into the darkness, a chill runs down your spine. Because behind the storm's roar, you can still hear another sound. Engines. The poachers aren't retreating. They're regrouping. And when the rain stops, they'll come for everything that moves. But somewhere in the shadows, the pride was already on the hunt. The rain tapers to a drizzle, leaving the air thick and heavy with steam. The Savannah exhales, every scent sharpened. The wet grass, the iron tang of blood, and the wild musk of lions moving through the dark. You push forward through knee-high brush, the cub held close, its small heartbeat thudding against your chest. Behind you, the sky still flickers with distant lightning, flashing the world in silver fragments. You stop to listen. The storm has muted the night, but the silence now feels alive. Somewhere in that stillness, you hear the faint pad of paws on soaked soil, soft, deliberate, many of them. They're following, not hunting, just there. You reach the edge of a clearing where the trees open into moonlit plain. The air is cool, almost gentle now, but your nerves hum like wire. The cub lifts its head, ears twitching. A low cry escapes its throat. You hush it, but it's too late. The sound drifts into the night, and an answer comes, a deep, resonant rumble from beyond the grass. The cub struggles in your arms, wanting to be set down. Its voice grows louder, a desperate call home. You lower it carefully to the ground. It limps forward a few paces, mewling into the wind. And then the grass parts. Golden shapes glide out of the shadows, one by one, silent and steady. First the lioness, the same you saw at the fence. Then two juveniles, curious but cautious. Then the male, mane dark and heavy, eyes burning with intelligence that feels almost human. You stand perfectly still. The cub cries again, and the lioness answers with a low moan that vibrates through the ground. She steps closer, nose flaring. Her gaze flicks from the cub to you. Every instinct tells you to look away, to make yourself small. But you can't help it, you hold her gaze. It's not defiance, not challenge, just recognition. The rainwater dripping from your hair, the mud streaked on your arms, the faint scent of blood that ties all of you to this moment. The lioness sniffs the cub, then your sleeve, the one still torn where you used it as a bandage. She breathes in your scent, deep and slow. For a heartbeat, the entire world narrows to her eyes, amber, fierce, and heartbreakingly alive. You whisper, "He's safe now." Your voice shakes, but it's enough. The lioness lowers her head to the cub, licking its paw gently. The cub leans into her, a sound escaping that's half purr, half sob. The male growls softly behind her. It isn't anger, just warning. You take a small step back, hands raised. The pride closes around the cub, forming a living wall of fur and muscle. You're outside the circle now, but not unwelcome. Then movement on the far ridge. You squint through the mist. Headlights, two vehicles creeping along the trail, engines rumbling low. The poachers. Your stomach tightens. The pride senses it too. The lioness raises her head, ears forward, tail twitching. The male turns toward the sound and growls, deep and thunderous. You glance at the cub nestled between its mother's paws. Safe for now. You know you should retreat, radio for help, let the rangers handle what comes next, but your feet refuse to move. You're rooted in the wet earth, watching nature gather its strength. The engines cut. Doors slam. Voices drift across the plain. The lions crouch low, muscles rippling. The poachers step into the grass, flashlights sweeping in wide arcs. One beam passes over you, then the lions, then jerks back, shouting. The first gun cocks. You whisper, "No, no." But the savannah has its own laws. The lioness roars, a sound so vast it shakes the night apart. The pride surges forward like a wave of gold and fury. The grass explodes. The poachers scream. Chaos consumes the plain. You duck low, shielding your head, heart hammering. The cub presses against its mother as the storm of fur and fire rages. The earth vibrates with life and violence intertwined. When the roar finally fades, only the rain remains. You rise slowly, the air thick with the scent of wet soil and survival. Shapes move in the dark, some fleeing, some standing guard. The pride has driven the men away, at least for now. You meet the lioness's eyes one last time. For a moment, everything feels still, two worlds acknowledging each other. Then she turns, nudges her cub, and disappears into the grass. You exhale a shuddering breath, knees weak. You're alone again. Or so you think. Because just as the wind shifts, carrying the fading smell of gunpowder, another sound emerges, a distant roar that doesn't belong to this pride. Another group is coming, and this time they may not be so forgiving. But behind you, a shadow moved, too human to be lion, too quiet to be friend. The night settles into an uneasy silence, that fragile calm that sits between storms. You kneel in the damp grass, chest heaving, rain dripping from your hair. The savannah stretches before you, endless and black, but something inside the darkness feels alive, watching. You can still smell the lions, their wild musk mingled with the metallic sting of blood and earth. You grip your radio, whispering, "Base, this is Unit 12. Do you copy?" Static answers. Then silence. The storm has swallowed the signal whole. You're cut off. You glance toward where the pride disappeared. Only ripples of grass remain. You should feel relief. The cub is safe with its mother. The poachers are gone. The danger should be over. But deep down, you know it isn't. You stand slowly, turning your flashlight toward the east ridge. The beam cuts through the mist, and then, just for a second, reflects off something that shouldn't be there. A human figure. You freeze. It's one of the poachers. The one who ran. He's limping, dragging his rifle through the mud. He hasn't given up. If he spots the pride or the cub, it'll all begin again. You take a step forward, then stop. A movement ahead catches your eye. A silhouette glides across the field, the lioness. She's returned, moving low and quiet, the cub at her side. Her head turns toward the wounded man, then toward you. The air hums with tension, 3 lives locked in a triangle of instinct, vengeance, and something deeper. The poacher raises his rifle. You shout, "No!" The lioness roars, a wall of sound that shakes the grass. The man fires once, twice, but the shots go wide. Lightning flashes, revealing everything in perfect detail. The lioness standing between you and the man, the cub cowering behind her, your own hands empty and shaking. Then, without warning, she does something no one expects. She turns her head toward you. Her eyes meet yours, calm, intelligent, searching. For a heartbeat, the world stops. The sound, the rain, even the thunder, everything fades until there's only that gaze. It's not fury, not threat. It's recognition, she remembers. The smell of your skin when you knelt beside her cub. The sound of your voice whispering softly as you freed it from pain. The same hands that now tremble in fear once saved her child. You take a slow step closer, lowering your voice. It's all right. I'm not here to hurt you. The lioness blinks slowly, her breathing steady. You raise your hand, not to reach, just to show peace. She doesn't flinch. The poacher groans, struggling to reload. The lioness turns, muscles tightening. One movement and it will be over. His fate sealed in a heartbeat of instinct. But she hesitates. She looks back at you. You shake your head. Don't. It's madness, talking to a predator as if it understands. But in her eyes something shifts. She lowers her body not to strike, but to shield the cub. Then with one final look, she nudges it gently toward the tall grass. The cub limps ahead, safe, alive. The lioness watches until her child disappears into the dark, then vanishes herself, as if the earth swallowed her whole. You're left with the wind, the rain, and a single wounded man staring back at you in disbelief. For the first time, he lowers his weapon. The Savannah humbles everyone eventually. You walk toward him slowly, kicking his rifle aside. It's over, you say, voice hoarse. Leave this place. He nods, eyes hollow, and staggers away into the dark. You sink to your knees, the adrenaline leaving your body all at once. The night feels still again, for the first time, truly still. Then from the distance a sound rises, faint but unmistakable, a roar. Long, deep, and full of something that sounds almost like gratitude. You look toward the horizon, the faint glow of dawn just beginning to break. The pride is moving on, their cub safe once more. And you've been seen, known, and spared. But as the first light touches the plains, another shadow stirs near the old ranger post. Something not yet finished with the night. The first rays of dawn spill across the horizon, burning away the mist. The storm has passed, leaving the savannah glittering with dew and silence. You stand beneath the fading clouds, the air thick with petrichor, the scent of wet soil, renewal, and the fragile truce between life and death. For the first time in hours, you breathe without fear. The cub is safe, the pride has vanished into the golden grass, and the echo of gunfire is nothing but memory. Still, the weight of the night lingers in your chest like a bruise. You move slowly back toward the outpost. The ground is slick, the mud bearing prints, paw marks and boot marks intertwined, a map of survival written by man and beast alike. At the door, the radio crackles again. Unit 12, come in. We're approaching from the north. Status, you press the transmitter. The poachers are gone. The cub's alive. Pride's dispersed east toward the ridge. I'm safe. A pause, then copy that. Medical team inbound. Hold tight. You lower the radio and sink against the wall, exhaustion washing over you. Every muscle aches. The rain has soaked through to your bones, and your heartbeat still hasn't found its rhythm again. But for now, the savannah is calm. The danger has paused. Not ended, but paused, and in that stillness, you finally feel the weight of what happened. When the ranger team arrives, the first thing you see are their headlights cresting the hill, steady, reassuring. You raise a hand weakly in greeting. They check you over, patch the cut on your shoulder, wrap your arm. The medic, a woman named Aria, glances at the mud-stained tracks. You were right in the middle of it, she says softly. You nod. The pride was protecting the cub. They did what we couldn't. She studies you for a moment, then smiles faintly. That's the thing about lions. They don't forget kindness or threat. For the next few days, the world slows down. The storm clears completely, leaving skies wide and blue. You set up temporary camp near the ridge, waiting for confirmation that the poachers have been caught. The cub's trail remains visible for a while, small shallow prints alongside the larger tracks of its pride. You follow them from a distance, never too close, just enough to see that they're alive and moving strong. Each evening, as the sun bleeds across the horizon, you jot notes into your worn field journal. Day 3, no sign of poachers. Pride moved south by the watering hole. Cub running without limp. Lioness healthy. At night, the savannah changes its rhythm. You hear the laughter of hyenas far off, the distant call of elephants migrating west, and sometimes, just once or twice, the faint, echoing roar of the pride. It doesn't sound like a warning anymore. It sounds peaceful. There's healing in that sound, not just for them, for you too. Still deep down, you know nature's balance is fragile. The rangers report another snare discovered 10 miles east. The poachers always return, drawn by the same greed that brings death to the wild. But so do the protectors, people like you, like Arya, who keep showing up again and again because the savannah deserves a voice. One evening, you stand on a small rise overlooking the valley. The air is still warm, the light soft. Below, a shape moves, the lioness. Her coat glows, amber in the sunset. The cub trots beside her, strong and sure now. She stops, just for a moment, lifting her head. Even from this distance, you feel her eyes find you again. No growl, no sound. Just stillness, recognition. You smile faintly. You made it, you whisper. A gust of wind rolls through the grass. The lioness turns, leading her cub toward the distant hills. The pride follows, golden shadows fading into the horizon. The savannah exhales again. Peace for now. But even in peace, there's always the whisper of what's coming next. And as night descended, you didn't notice the pair of headlights returning across the far plain. The next morning dawns strange, too quiet, too still. No birds greet the light. The wind has vanished, leaving the air heavy and expectant. Even the insects seem to hold their breath. You rise from your cot with an uneasy feeling crawling up your spine. Arya meets you outside the tent, her brow furrowed. The drone picked up movement near the southern plain, she says, holding out the tablet. The screen shows tire marks cutting through the grass, fresh, deliberate, and heading straight toward the watering hole. You know that trail. The poachers have come back. You grab your pack, sling the rifle over your shoulder, and radio the command post. Unit 12 moving south to intercept. Pride may be in danger, copy that. Back up 5 minutes behind you. Be careful. The savannah glows gold under the rising sun as you move through the tall grass. Each step sends dust swirling, catching the light like embers. The beauty of it almost hides the dread building in your chest. The pride has been resting near the watering hole for days. You know the rhythm of their movements, the soft trails of their paws. They won't understand the danger until it's too late. When you reach the ridge, you drop low and peer through your binoculars. 2 trucks, 5 men. One of them sets up a tripod, a rifle with a scope that gleams in the light. Another drags out something heavy, wrapped in burlap. You feel your stomach turn. It's bait. You whisper under your breath, not again. The radio hisses softly, Arya's voice cutting in. We're en route. 2 minutes out. You glance down. 2 minutes is too long. You make your choice. You break from cover, sprinting down the slope. The dry grass whips at your legs, dust exploding beneath your boots. You don't shout, not yet. You need surprise on your side. The first poacher doesn't see you until you're almost on him. You tackle him hard, the rifle skidding away in the dirt. He swings at you, catching your shoulder, but adrenaline keeps you upright. You grab the barrel of your own weapon, jam it into the air, and fire a warning shot. The sound rolls across the plain like thunder. Everything freezes. The men turn. For a second, no one moves. Then, Akos, the lions. From the far side of the watering hole, the pride erupts into motion, golden bodies flashing through the sunlight, roaring as one. The sound shakes the earth. You stagger back, shouting, "Get down! Get down!" But it's too late. The poachers scatter, one diving into the truck, another tripping and vanishing into the grass. The leader stands his ground, firing wildly. Bullets tear through the reeds, sending birds screaming into the sky. You drop to one knee, return fire into the air, not to kill, just to stop him from hitting them. The lioness charges. Her roar splits the silence clean in two. The man turns his gun toward her, and then stops. The cub appears at her side, grown stronger now, its coat slick in the light. The man hesitates. Just long enough, she strikes. The rifle falls. The shot goes wide. The man hits the dirt, breathless and beaten. The rest flee into the horizon, chased by the thunder of paws and the wild cry of a world reclaiming itself. Then dead silence again. But this time, it's not fear that fills it. It's something purer, balance. You lower your weapons slowly. The lioness stands a few yards away, chest heaving. Her cub nudges her side, unharmed. The pride gathers around them, their roars fading into quiet. You meet her gaze one last time, and in that look, there's no wildness, only calm. You whisper, "It's over." She blinks once, turns, and leads her pride toward the setting sun. Their shapes fade into gold and shadow until they're gone. The rangers arrive minutes later, breathless, weapons ready, but the battle's already ended. Arya looks at the scene, at the tracks, at your mud-caked uniform, and shakes her head. "You did it," she says. You glance toward the horizon, voice low. "No, they did." The wind rises again, gentle, carrying the scent of rain and grass. The savannah exhales, and for the first time in days, it feels alive again. But as the last echo of the lion's roars fades, you realize something deeper. The wild never really needs saving. It just needs a chance to breathe. And in that stillness, when the savannah finally fell silent, you felt the pulse of the world settle back into peace. The sun drifts low again, a molten disk sinking toward the rim of the world. Its light washes the grasslands in soft gold, every blade glowing as if the earth itself were exhaling light. The wind has returned, gentle now, curling around the acacia trees and carrying the scent of wet dust and new life. You sit at the edge of the ridge, the same one where everything began, and let the silence settle. Below you, the savannah breathes in long, slow rhythms. Zebras graze near the watering hole. A lone giraffe moves with unhurried grace, its shadow stretching endlessly over the plain. Somewhere far off, a lion calls, not in anger or warning, but in calm declaration. The storm is over. The land remembers peace. You close your eyes and listen. The world hums with the small sounds of recovery, insects returning, wings fluttering, water dripping from leaves. It's the symphony of survival, the kind that plays only when the wild forgives you for stepping into its story. The cub and its mother will roam now beneath these same skies, hidden somewhere in the tall grass. You can picture them walking side by side, tails brushing, the cub strong again, healed. And though you'll likely never see them up close, you know their paths will cross yours, in the air, in the wind, in the low murmur of the earth that connects everything alive out here. Arya's voice drifts over the radio. "Beautiful evening, isn't it?" You smile, it is. "The savannah's resting again." "Then so should you," she says softly, and the channel clicks silent. The last of the light fades into blue. The stars come out one by one, mirrored in the shallow pools left by the rain. You draw a deep breath and feel the ache in your body ease, replaced by something quiet, gratitude maybe, or awe. The danger has passed, peace has returned, and the savannah rests once more. You rise slowly, watching the horizon dissolve into night. Somewhere out there, the pride moves as one, the cub safe beneath its mother's steady watch. The world turns, steady and patient, and you know that for this brief, perfect moment, everything is as it should be.